Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Hey, can you go to jail in the Philippines for not paying your hospital bill? Actually, yes, there is a way for that to actually transpire. But, since we went through this process, and I will put the link below so that you can find out about all of the medical issues that we went through last week, if you're interested. What is important, what's more important, is that you be aware of the possibilities and learn, or at least be aware of how the hospitalization transaction works. So let's talk about it. Okay. Now, I think it should be noted that anywhere, any place, there are exceptions to every rule. And with that being said, our experience is simply what we went through. It was very similar, I think, to Ian the expat. It's funny. It appears that he was in the hospital, totally different hospital. At the same time, I was in the hospital, but we'll get back to that another time. Now, how does it work? Okay, first off, you have public hospitals and you have private hospitals. If you enter to a private hospital, you are entering into a agreed upon financial situation. You are entering into a contract. Period. End of story. That's the way the Philippine law looks at it. If you go to a public hospital and you go to get a private room, because it does happen. There are private rooms in public hospitals, okay? You also are entering into a hotel stay. That's exactly what it is. You can Google it. You can look it up. That's how the Philippines works. So let's say you do like me. We arrived at the hospital 2:00 in the morning. I was in no situation or position to even consider anything, think about anything. Arlen, great, right beside me the whole way. And we went through this whole thing. 4 days in the hospital. Now, the way the hospitals work, and it's funny, if you compare other people's experiences, you're going to see that there are a couple of common denominators. And here's the way it works. You going to have the nursing station at each floor or each section or each wing of the hospital, that nursing section. Now, can you, like Arlen and I, put on a shirt and a pair of sweatpants and walk around the floor for a little bit of exercise? All right. Can you do that? Sure. Can you leave the floor and go get a coffee shop and cheat on something to eat? Sure. Can you grab your stuff and make it past that nursing station? No. They're designed that way. Secondly, the way it worked is you would go to first off, you would have to have your doctors sign off on your discharge. Don't get me wrong, you can do AMA, all right, or what we call in the U.S. AMA, against medical advice, all right? You can do that. But that only means you can leave, all right, or that you want to leave, whether the doctor wants you to leave or not. That doesn't mean you have the permission of the hospital to leave. So you go to the billing department and you take care of your billing. So for us, the experience that we had, because, we're so used to handing our insurance card in the U.S. We're so used to billing, all right? We don't worry about billing when we're in there, all right, during a transaction, during an event. Afterwards, yes, of course, okay? But you don't have, it's not a pay-as-you-go situation in the U.S. Here, it was much different. Now, I was in a very good private hospital. I was at Clark Medical City in Angeles, Philippines. All right. One of the better hospitals in the Philippines, full service. And I can tell you, looking at the equipment and having been in the medical field for as long as I have, the cardiac catheterization room, which is actually an angio suite with multiple what we call IIs, all right, two different size IIs, all right, was a state-of-the-art room. This was not any of that hoedown province bullshit. But and don't get me wrong, there are good private hospitals in the province. But let's talk about the issue of getting everything done. So you're ready to go. Your doctors have contacted the nursing station and told the nursing station he's done. He's ready to discharge. They have contacted billing. Billing is now going to put together an audited, cleaned up bill. Now, every day, so the way it worked for us, I really found this interesting, was every day Arlene would get a text between 9:30 and 10:30. Okay? She would get a text from the billing department. Hey, gentle reminder, you currently owe, please come down and take care of it. So they want their money every day. Now, was it a pure coincidence that until we paid that on a daily basis, we didn't have anything major done? I don't know. I doubt it. I really do. But now, the interesting part was, and I'm going to do a video on this as well down the road, the inefficiency of some aspects of the hospital. Not the people that work there. We had great care. I am not unhappy whatsoever with the nursing care, with the technical care, with my physician care, with the equipment, their food. Just not for me. I guess, Arlene didn't have a problem. She ate it. She would eat it. Not me. Arlene would go out and get me food, try and get me something that was healthy. All right. Well, depending on whether I could actually eat that day. But either way, she would have to go downstairs and pay. Now, I thought that she had to pay. It rings in the back of my mind, 90% of the bill had to stay up to date. Arlene said 80% when I talked to her about this last night. It's 2:40 a.m. this morning. So anyways, so you've got to keep that going. Everything that you do at the hospital, every hospital that we've seen is a line item billing expense experience. Unlike the U.S. where you have DRGs, okay, you can have a DRG, which is a code the hospital has for pneumonia. And that DRG is going to say, you know what? You're going to get 2 days in the hospital, chest x-ray, interpretation, blood work, blah, 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 for this amount of money. And very few things will be extra. In the Philippines, no such thing as a DRG. None of the hospitals follow that whatsoever. They may have something similar that is very independent to them. Okay? Like I said, there are exceptions to all rules. But it's not non-standard. So every day they have to apparently, because this is what we saw happen, they have to go through all the charges. I mean, I could literally show you my billing. It is 26 pages long, and it is very tightly typed. All right. I would venture to say there's at least 40 items per page. I could go back and look, but the point with it is 26 pages, but not all relative. In other words, at the end of every page, there's a stamp that says, well, this is not do not use this as your final bill. All right. So you don't know until the billing department clears it completely. Now, remember, this is really about not paying your bill. What happens? Well, before you can not pay your bill, you got to get out. Okay, we're going to come back to that. So here we are. The billing department does it. I can tell you that on the day of my discharge, my 5th day, okay, they started the process of, I guess the best word to use would be they started the checks and balances to make sure that they didn't overcharge or undercharge for items. I'm talking about they even cotton balls, the whole 9 yards. Okay. And every day they would show charges that were being deducted from the previous day. And so they had to account for all of that. And then they had to do it twice. So then what happens? Well, we learned the first day that Arlene paid. She went down to the billing office, paid with a credit card. And, at that point, I'm in pretty rough shape, to be honest with you. She's doing the best she can with the idea behind, hey, Mike wants this done this way, and this has to happen for him to get continuity of care. She paid with credit card. All right. Well, if you pay with a credit card at both private hospitals or here in Angeles, there's a 5% surcharge. And if you've got a $20,000 bill, you're going to pay 5% extra. So, no, that's not going to work. Arlene, we keep some cash at home, emergency cash. And Arlene went and got my best friend, Eddie, and they went to the bank, picked up more. And she's carrying around a little brown SM grocery bag, okay, with 1 million pesos in it, because we don't know what the bill is going to be. We do know it's going to be between 800,000 and 1 million. We don't know. We don't know what kind of discount I'm going to get. We don't know anything because there are senior citizen discounts. Not much. Trust me. Okay. Now the bill is paid. The billing department then issues a piece of paper. That piece of paper tells the nursing staff upstairs he's good to go. Now, I could not have gotten past the nursing station with my belongings, all right? But now that I've got that piece of paper, I still can't. The reason I can't is because the hospital wants to make sure. So, what will happen? What happened in Clark is that you must be discharged by wheelchair. And it's one of their wheelchairs. And they have people at the door. And if you don't give them that piece of paper, because it's not Arlene pushing the wheelchair, okay? My nurse that day, really nice young lady. I mean, really, really nice. She was from La Union. Actually, she was from Nagilian, interestingly enough. But very, very well qualified, very, very nice. You can't get out accidentally. You've got to have permission. So now let's pretend you did get out. Let's pretend you were willing, able, and capable of getting out of the hospital without paying your bill. And there are a couple caveats there. Not all hospitals require that you pay the total amount. You can pay X% at some places and then sign a promissory note. You can pay X% at some places, sign a promissory note, and have a co-signer to the promissory note. So, yeah, it all depends. It really and truly does. But let's pretend you got out of there. So what happens? Well, are you going to go to jail? Are they going to call the police and pick you up? Nah, I don't think so. I did a lot of research to find out if there was anybody that actually experienced this, and no. But let me tell you what they did experience. All right. Hospitals here weigh far more power than what you would think. They are big money makers for communities. And some communities, their profits are what drive big chunks of social welfare healthcare. They have a lot of power. They can pick up the phone, they can call immigration, and they can just put a hold on your exit clearance. So in other words, you can't leave the Philippines unless you clean up with immigration the billing that you have. And what immigration will do is they'll put a case in front of the Department of Justice saying this guy owes money. Once you do that, here's what happens. If you get in trouble, if anything happens for anything else, all of a sudden you have a pending case from immigration. What do? You end up going to immigration holding. And it's not a pretty sight by any way, shape, or means. And you won't get to clean up anything until that bill is taken care of. But then let's take it one step further. Let's pretend you got away from the hospital. Let's pretend you got out of the Philippines before they could catch you. You ain't coming back because they filed with immigration. You are now blacklisted, but they're not going to tell you you're blacklisted. Why should they? They don't give a shit. All right. If you're stupid enough to come back, you're stupid enough to come back. And when you cross that threshold at immigration at the airport, there's going to be a detainer on you and you're going to go to immigration holding. You're not going to get kicked out right there. You have a legal case against you. So yeah, is it possible to get thrown in jail? Not jail, prison. We've found nothing that is indicative of that. Is it possible to end up in some sort of detainer situation? Yes, absolutely. And there are stories of it. There's a man that's in, well, it's not for his hospital bill, so we won't go into it. My point is that yes, reason that we're going through this is we had a subscriber who said, hey, what's the big deal? You went, you had this, it's a big bill, you paid for it. What are they going to do? Throw you in jail if you don't pay? Sort of, kind of. I don't know. If you've experienced any of this, if you know anybody that has experienced it, if you know a different route, please do tell us. We'd like to know what the other options might be. Otherwise, have a great day.